sake of
I'm going to tell you
one,
again.
Sly's money, and two, the fact that Sly might not want everybody knowing how much is in his bank account, we can start our cold open from now.
No, please. We're talking about charities. Please keep the amount there so people can donate. If you'd like to donate, you can use the code at the bottom of the screen that is coming on now. Perfect.
The money will go to a Sly in need.
Yeah. Right. Cool. That's it. Going to Razmataz Saturday. Razmataz used to cost me 11 euros on a Saturday night. This has just cost me 22 euros for exactly the same thing.
That's not good. Why is it double?
They've split the club.
They've split the club
directly down the middle.
So they split the club. All right. So there's 5 rooms, but now they split it 3 rooms and 3 rooms. On top of this, if you want to go to just half the club, it's still more expensive. It's still 17 or 18 euros. Now, if you want access to all of the club, it's 22 euros. So I'm not VIP. I'm like a semi-VIP. I'm like all access, but I don't get a table. I'm just going to be the only geezer just going from just around the club. It's annoying, but hey, 22 euros. Motherfuckers.
Are you going to Resworth? Is this the night you were talking about, like the invitation night?
No, I'm getting invited Friday to go to Apollo, but he hasn't replied yet. So I'm waiting to see if I am going to Apollo Friday or not. But whatever that is, I've taken my ticket for Raz because otherwise it'll sell out. So even if I go to Apollo, I can still sell my ticket for Raz. At least I have it. That's the important bit.
Smart move.
That is shrewd. How much are you going to sell it for if it comes to it?
You can only add 20% or something. It's not nothing too special.
What was that?
That was Mia.
That was Mia.
What was
Didn't
that?
sound like Mia.
Making money.
She's making money.
Wait, full disclosure, I've had to watch these fights on my phone and I haven't seen the prelims. I tried to watch the prelims live, the Fight Pass kept fucking up. I'm going to try my hard. It's going to be tough.
It's okay. Before we start, did anybody see the boxing match between Lee Wood and Mickey Conlan? And if you didn't see the fight, did you see the finish at least?
Yeah, you showed me the finish, no?
I showed you this finish.
Is he okay, by the way?
He's still alive, which is good, and got out of hospital the next day. But it was a little touch and go. Brilliant boxing match. I was watching the UFC, and Laurie texted me just before it started, being like, "Hey man, it's a really good fight. It's about to be on. If you want to check it out on DAZN." I was like, "Screw it. I'm watching the prelims. I can still use Fight Pass and pause and watch the prelims. So I'll just put a pause in the action, flick across this fight." This guy, Mickey Conlan, drops Lee Wood stone cold in the first round. You can't believe he manages to get back up. Almost finishes him in the second, almost finishes him in the third. Dominates him for like the first 6 rounds. Lee Wood starts coming back. Lands his moments. Conlan has his moments. It's going back and forth. 11th round, Wood manages to knock him down. Conlan seems okay. They get up. They're both swinging at it in the 12th round. And then Wood lands a right hand that literally knocks him out cold on his feet. He's just like standing upright. The head's dropped down. Ref doesn't realize what's going on. Wood lands like 3 or 4 more shots and just knocks him straight through the ropes. Through the ropes, out, done. Like this weird moment of elation, and then everyone standing around when they realize like no replays were being shown, which usually is a really bad sign. And then just like total quietness as he's being taken out until the next day, and he's fine. And then everyone started celebrating.
Okay.
So,
sorry, go ahead, Si.
Just looked worse than it is, which is good news.
Yeah. Conlan's gutted, but it was honestly highlights on DAZN. Good 30 minutes. If you can watch the whole fight, I highly recommend it. It was one of those nice moments where it's completely unexpected and got to enjoy just an extra 30 minutes, 40 minutes of action on my Saturday night, which was pretty good.
Decent.
It also happened at a good point in the prelims. And Arsenal won.
Good Saturday all round.
Yeah, you won't say that next weekend. What?
Why?
Because they're playing Liverpool. And they weren't winning.
We're playing Liverpool tomorrow.
All my fun playing Liverpool.
Arsenal play Liverpool tomorrow, mate.
Is The neighbors are like moving the house around. By the way, I don't know what is going on.
I can hear
Uh,
that.
you can hear it as well.
It's not our neighbors upstairs, it's our neighbors sideways.
Yeah, I don't like the sideways
Yeah, I
neighbors.
can hear it.
You can hear it as well.
Damn, that's not
Yeah,
good.
it's,
Yeah.
it's
Do you
becoming
want to see if it
a
stops?
disturbance. Sorry,
Just give it a few minutes, see if it stops.
it will stop.
They don't
They-
tend to do it for long.
Yeah, they're not that strong. Their endurance is poor.
Uh,
Anyway, guys, Kevin Holland, that was pretty cool. Saved the sushi
Nuts.
restaurant.
You've read more on this. I just saw Ariel Hawani's tweet that said,
I'm literally just looking at it now. I literally saw your text. They've got no idea. So maybe
So it's,
Anani knows more.
Kevin Holland and another MMA fighter that I couldn't see anything about. But I didn't have time to have a deep search on Tapology or something, called Patrick Robinson. They both took this guy down when he came in and opened fire, and a third person helped them as well. And he put it on his Instagram story. Fucking, I don't really know too much else other than what Matt already said. Like no injuries, no shots fired. Oh,
It
and the guy
sounds
had
like-
drugs on him.
from what I read on Irani's tweet, he said that they described it as immediately taking him down. So it sounds like literally the guy started firing and they just both just pounced on him, basically. Which just in on itself is fucking nuts. Like the cojones you've got to have where you don't even have that split second of like hesitation of, oh fuck, should I get involved? Just straight in. And the fact that this is the second time in like the last 6 months that Kevin Holland has apprehended a
This one's a little
law-breaking member
different.
of Houston society.
This one's way scarier. Like,
Yeah. Well, the first one, he chase down a car thief or a bag robber or
Yeah.
something like that.
car thief.
Car thief.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, do we think Kevin Holland is secretly a superhero?
I think
Yeah.
I think that his takedowns are obviously not being talked about enough, because clearly he took this guy down, and people keep saying, "Oh, he's not that good at taking people down." I think,
I remember you once saying that he can't take people down.
well, clearly he's improved, or maybe he just needs a guy to have a gun. Maybe.
Well, to be fair, this position is not going to give you the best takedown defense.
Clearly.
Yeah, his gun was all over his front foot, you know?
Yeah. I mean, really, you want to have like the overeem, like the one hand down to block the takedown, and then the other one sort of like the right hand cocked. But the
Yeah.
guy, how is the guy supposed to know? How is the guy supposed to know that the protector of Houston wanted sushi that night?
Yeah, damn sushi jitters, you know. Maybe next sushi restaurant he tries to knock off. Look a little bit more composed.
Well, who knows? I mean, maybe this is going to become a trend. Maybe it's just at this point, when do you give Kevin Holland his honorary Houston Police Force badge? Because that's 2 in 6 months. I mean, that's more success than most actual police officers have in Houston.
Wait, isn't the Beast? Fuck, the Beast.
Derek Lewis.
Yeah, he's from Houston as well, no?
Yes, he
Yeah.
also has knocked
Yeah.
out car thieves.
Someone, right? Amazing.
The difference is the person was trying to steal his car, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
feel like he's protecting anybody. It just more feels like a don't fuck with Derek Lewis moment. Kevin Holland is the man protecting the people of Houston. I mean, he's got to be on the next Houston card because this guy is going to get. I mean, he's already a hero, but now he's a real hero. This is fucking awesome. But also, this could have been a really different story. Like, we could have been waking up the news to Kevin Holland and something Robinson both died in a shooting last night.
Mm.
Which after the Kane news would have been a lot. So I'm glad it didn't go in that direction, but just goes to show guns are scary. Guns are scary. Bad things happen when people with drugs can also buy guns.
Guns. And
Just my
drugs.
thought. Just my thought. Let's not get
Fucking
too
Thiago
political.
Santos and Ankalaev was scary.
Yeah.
That's fucking scary.
Should we get into that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, in that space, we might as well say hello and welcome back to the MMA Split podcast as we now talk about actual MMA. I undersold Santos a little bit on this one. He
Well,
kind of
it's easy to
he
do.
looks more like his old self.
Oof, I wouldn't go that far because, like, he has still lost a step. Um, the injuries that we see him get during fights, I'm assuming he's picking up a lot of injuries during camps as well. He doesn't throw the kicks with the same reckless abandon. He's not. Yeah, he is still a shade of himself, but when you kind of fight, I would say if anything, they kind of fought in Ankalaev's terms. But like, when you brawl like that, like a dangerous, tough guy, yeah, we sold him a little short on that, I think, because it was phenomenal performance.
First round, I thought Ankalaev looked fantastic. First round, everything, the counters were so quick. It didn't feel like Santos could take a step forward without being punished for it. And it was all very sharp, short, technical shots. But to be fair to Santos, he managed to land a shot that kind of put that little bit of fear in Ankalaev. And I'll say I think this is the most nervous I've seen Ankalaev in terms of after that. Certainly rounds 2, 3, or 5. Obviously, he did end up winning the fight. But you could tell he was a lot more reserved. He wasn't quite pulling the trigger as much or looking as comfortable as he did in the first round. And I think a lot of credit for that goes to what Santos did. I think, to be honest, I think the biggest shame for Santos is that by about halfway through round 3, he just looked like the tank was gone. Just absolutely gone. He had nothing left apart from winding up big shots. And I think that's what ended up really kind of making it not easy, but allowed Ankalaev to kind of sail through in the last kind of couple of rounds on that one.
Yeah, I'm for sure. Did you think at the end of the second round though, Santos might just take this?
I think it's round 2 and 3. It looked like Santos might actually have a chance, but then it kind of and Ankalaev just showed that he was just as soon as he took him to the floor, there was no more questions about it. That was it. That was like, oh, okay, well, this guy's just a better fighter all round.
I think the gas tank had a lot to do with it, though. Particularly when you can be tired and still keep your poker face, but once you're at the point where you're literally going like this with a nervous look on your face, it does kind of send a signal to your opponents of, I think I could probably spam some takedowns, and he's probably too tired to be able to stop the second or the third one. So I think that's the thing that really let Santos down. And the weird thing about it is that we've seen him burn more energy and not look this tired. You think like the first couple of rounds of the John Jones fight, the number of strikes he was throwing, it felt weird that he got tired as quickly as it did. Is that just me reading things, or?
I think it's a bad knee injury in that John Jones fight. And he does, if you keep picking up injuries, just period, you cannot train as much. You cannot train as hard. You cannot train as often. And it's hard to maintain that fitness. He's getting older as well. He's got other commitments in his life. So, yeah, I think he's just so fucking tough that he's always going to be a threat. But yeah, good. I was kind of expecting more of a downward trend. I didn't think he'd be able to put up the kind of fight that he did, but I suppose Ankalaev, especially in the first few rounds, really kind of allowed Santos to kind of stand there and brawl them a little bit.
Well, I think it was what he was doing was working in round 1 until he got caught.
What, for Ankalaev? Yeah. But I mean, Santos is kind of doing well at this stage. He's taking a lot of the shots. He's just going to do it every time I talk. No, sit. It's not easy to see him to like mute it when I'm on the fucking phone. All right. Sorry. What were we talking about?
Ankalaev, mostly.
Ankalaev, you said Santos didn't look as bad as you thought he was going to look and didn't have as much of a downward trend, particularly for the first kind of 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah,
I thought if anything he was going to kind of be more on his ass with the way, his kind of body's holding up these days. Shit, fuck that dog, man. Feed through my train of thought. What else do we think? What are you saying, Sly?
I enjoyed some of the fights. I don't think I enjoyed the main event so much. I don't even know why. I think I was rooting for Santos. I just never felt like Santos had a chance, except for like the whole 2 minutes. You thought, like, ah, there's hope. But I think that was amazing. That I mentioned to Matt, as we were watching it, and you see Santos getting like swinging to try and hit him, and you see Santos's like swings and everything. But you don't always, especially if you're watching on TV, you don't always see the hits from Ankalaev. If you just see Santos's head like just go backwards, and you're like, okay, what just happened to him? You don't even see Ankalaev because it's like it's very tight in, you know, like you just. I don't know. A few times he got jabbed in the face really quite hard, and I didn't even see the jab. And for a guy as big as Ankalaev to hit someone, and for us not to be able to see it, is I think quite impressive.
It's very high level technical striking. Nothing is overly wound up, nothing's overly swinging, everything's very tight and close to the body. So nothing's moving that far of a distance from A to B basically. He's just knows when to throw it, when to time it, and the power comes from just the execution and the follow through and a lot of the weight coming in from Santos. And this is the big issue with Santos, you know, particularly once he got tired. There are a few moments where, I mean, there's loading up your right hand, and then there's like dropping back into southpaw to swing forward into orthodox to then swing the overhand right over. I mean, it's if it lands, it's brutal. But I think obviously what Ankalaev was able to do was just stay safe and stay out of distance and manage the fight very well. Was it the most exciting fight? No. But as we segue across before a final word on Ankalaev down to the other fights, it was the rest of the card that brought all of the excitement, really. The main event was the main event, but we'd got all of our knockouts and action-packed fights and exciting moments from everything that happened beforehand. What I'd say with Ankalaev is it's a good win. I kind of feel that he's not really benefited as much as he would have hoped from this. You know, the way he's talking about wanting a title shot is the way I think he expected to be talking after a finish in the first 2 rounds. And obviously he got a well-fought victory, but it's not one that's going to make him jump the queue for shots at the winner of Glover versus Yuri, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys feel differently, but
it's what you got to do. You know, you don't want the storyline to be, you know, edges, close fight, lackluster performance, something like that. You know, give him something else to write about. Ankalaev calls for next title shot after win.
I
Just
think
a pro being a pro.
I think what it did for me as well is it humanized Ankalaev a little bit in my eyes, because I have very much viewed Paul Craig's submission as just this absolute miracle and this one blemish on the unquestionable future champ that is going to rule the division. And this fight kind of reminded me that when you do get up to that top 5 level, it's just a different story. You can be really good and you can have dominated all of the guys up to that point, but even a declining guy in the top 5 is still a dangerous dude, and you are only human. And it makes me less confident about matchups with people like. See, I think Dominic Reyes would be a tough fight for him after watching that.
Yeah, probably.
I
probably depends.
be.
I mean, because I said, like with Santos, it was, you know, where he was kind of muddy in the waters is where I can kind of see his game plan. I think this is what I was going to say when that little bastard started barking. You know, kind of getting on the inside, try and like, if you can't make him miss, don't let him hit clean, get it on your guard, and just like load up and hit him with some hard shots when you can, and try and change the course of the fight. And, you know, he wasn't able to land enough of these, tired himself a bit too early, but you know, Ankalaev was able to take it, stay strong, and still break him and beat him. You know, even though he's kind of playing to his game plan, he's still the guy that gets tired first because Ankalaev did a good job. And Santos is someone that definitely deserves to have a number by his name. Still, you know, he's not what he was, but he's still close to the best version of himself, just with the experience and the savvy he's been picking up in the last few years. But yeah, I think Ankalaev, he can just sort of turn it on to some guys, and that was more him kind of riding out Santos's kind of best moments. And still, it's not the most action-packed fight, but to me, I think Ankalaev is a bit of a tactician, and he kind of took what was given, and didn't do anything more. But I know what you're saying. I'm trying to remember some of the other earlier fights because I do remember going into the Paul Craig fight. I was excited to watch Ankalaev, but yeah, step up in competition. Who else? Who else have we got in the top 15 slide?
For which
Light
one?
heavyweight.
Yeah, 205.
Let me check.
Let's see.
Dominic Reyes is a good one, but he's a bit chinny, and I just think he's not going to be able to finish Ankalaev before he gets rocked.
They're talking about Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith's got good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
At this point last week, I would have said that's a no-hoper for Anthony Smith. Now that I'm viewing Ankalaev as an extremely talented fighter, but still in that realm of top 5 talent in terms of ability, it's not a fight Anthony Smith couldn't win.
No, but I think he's going to favour trying to stay outside with the strikes more. And at that point, Ankalaev's speed and sharpness is going to come into play a little bit because, you know, he'll have the kind of room to set up, he'll have that room to kind of breathe and really, you know, kind of explode on him. Again, anything can happen in a fight. Anthony Smith, yeah, I think after this fight, the betting line will be closer. I still think Ankalaev's kind of a clear favourite there.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that it's a fight. We're not looking at light heavy Khabib. We're not looking at, you know, Adesanya's run through. That's all I'm saying. I'm putting things have been put in a different perspective. You know, who do I think would be a tough fight? Yuri would be a really hard fight for Ankalaev.
Yeah.
I think Ankalaev would struggle with somebody that unorthodox. So there's a lot of interesting matchups. One fight that was a lot less close as we move down to the co-main events and we say farewell and adieu to title challenger Marlon Moraes, who might not have got the interview but did leave his gloves in the octagon, suggesting that he has decided to retire after this fight. And judging how it went against Song, I think that is a very sensible decision because this was brutal.
4 knockouts in 18 months for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's had the whole variety as well. He's had the equilibrium knocked off and finished on the ground. He's had the barrage of horrific ground and pound strikes in the Merab-Dashvili fight. He's had the the Rob Font one where it was just again not concussed and then knocked down, and then this fight where, you know, my logic going in, I still thought Song was going to win, but I thought it was going to be a case of that he might struggle a little bit and Marlon Moraes would keep that kind of kicking range and fire the kicks. But Son dealt with that. He's just like, well, I'm just going to absolutely bull rush and charge you and then never, ever let you get out of kicking range. And the entire time that fight was in boxing range, Song was going to win. Just so much sharper, faster, better boxing fundamentals, more power at this point, more willingness to stand and take the shots. It was a passing of the torch, but I mean, this you know, it was horrifically one-sided and unbelievable to think that this is a guy who was fighting for the belts less than 3 years ago.
That's it. How old is he now, though? I swear when he came in, he was like 31 or something, right? Coming out of World Series of Fighting. That's when he passed the torch, though. That's the Hudo fight. You know, his best shot at winning the title was when he first came in. And even though things were going his way, you know, that's the Hudo fight. He turned it around in the second round. And that's kind of been it for Marlon. Unfortunately, he's still a great fighter, but
he's only 33.
He's only 33, so he was late 20s when he came in. But yeah, it'd be the right time to call it a day. I'm not saying, like, you know, a guy like him, take a year and a half off, let your brain heal, you could come back a much better fighter. But yeah, he doesn't need to. At least I hope he doesn't financially. I'd imagine he'd have other things lined up. You know, the way people talk about training with him and stuff, you got to believe there'd be a lot of camps would love to get him in as like a coach and maybe some kind of training partner in terms of different facets of the game. Maybe not sparring, but
Yeah.
still.
The problem is as well, I think bantamweight's a young man's division in many ways. People like Dominic Cruz are a complete outlier. Aldo's a complete outlier. Usually it's so dependent on that speed and reflexes and agility that when that goes along with your chin, it's a really long way back. And for a guy that used to be so quick, I just thought Son looked so much faster, so much sharper. You could replay that fight 4 or 5 times back, and I don't think it would go any differently.
No, I mean, I missed most of it. Like, 'cause I was having to put it on through while I was getting other shit done. But yeah, it was poor Marlon. I feel shitty for the joke I made about making his chin disappear now.
Hey,
I did call it though.
You did call it. And for Son, listen, this is a young fighter, but the gains that he's made, particularly in the last 2 fights across the last year or so, compared to the guy that fought Kyler Phillips and the guy that fought Chito Vera, it's insane how quickly this guy's improving now. It feels like he's found his groove. He knows who he is. And I think he's a really dangerous guy. I wonder what's going to happen when he deals with somebody that's less chinny but has more weapons. I think like a Sean O'Malley fight, something like that. If you look at the Kyler Phillips fight, he can be caught kind of chasing people, and you kind of can pick him apart if you've got those kind of skills. But it's going to be a lot of fun fights, man. I think there's a lot of people he could beat in the top 10.
And he's at the perfect camp as well. For his weight class and to really like hone those wrestling chops. Best place to be.
Yeah. So many elements of a young Cody Garbrandt about him in terms of that fighting style and the boxing skill. Yeah, moving down. So that was our top 2 fights as I bring everything up on my phone because I watched these fights a few days ago and my memory is shit.
Oh,
Sadiq Youssef against Alex Caceres. I backed Caceres to get it done. I was wrong. But you know what? I thought that he did not look out of place. He just didn't quite have enough firepower to keep Youssef off him.
This is so close. This fight was so close. I mean, I think this could have gone either way. With different judges, I suppose that the judges gave it to Sadiq Youssef due to leg kicks, which is quite rare. I mean,
what were the total strikes?
I think they're even 64-66. Caceres had total strikes 74-71 for Sadiq, and significant 66-64 for Caceres. Takedowns, 1 takedown each. Knockdown 0-0. But yeah, it's just Caceres just hit him in more in the head, and Sadiq hit him more in the legs. Otherwise, that's it. So it was so even.
The thing is, though, audibly, it didn't sound the same when Caceres hit Sadiq. So you're factoring in kind of hooks while he's on the move and checks, shots, and all this kind of stuff against what felt like extremely heavy and damaging leg kicks. Listen, I picked Caceres. I would have loved him to get the result. I do think Youssef won the fight, but I've become a Caceres fan, and I'm glad to see. I didn't want him to just get completely owned as soon as he got a ranked opponent. I feel that at the very least he showed that he belongs at least as the number 15 guy until somebody takes that ranking off him. And I'm glad that he at least was able to compete with a top 15 fighter in a fight that could have gone his way.
It's crazy to think he's probably doing better than Michael Johnson now. Having come in the same time for the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah.
But listen, that guy's he's worked hard, and one thing I'd say about him is he very rarely gets hit clean. He does a really good job of keeping himself safe. And when you do that, even if you lose fights, you're able to learn from them a lot more effectively because you're not recovering from knockouts and injuries.
No, definitely. Shit, I haven't got my fucking picks because with my MacBook down, can't remember exactly what I went for. But I think I finished up 9-5. I got no idea on the methods. Pretty sure I called this one as well, though, for Super Sadiq.
Well, for everyone watching how the picks went, we will recap them at the total numbers once we've run through the card. as I did promise on last episode, we're going to introduce an extra element to these picks, which I will also reveal afterwards. So we'll figure it out.
We need to work out the extra elements as a team. No more unilateral decisions. I'm reining that back in.
I'm not saying that I'm deciding what the elements are. I'm just saying that, okay, so since Josh has now forced this conversation to happen earlier, I'll have it. I think we should be recording the picks in some kind of tally for a win, to have, like, over a period of time, a winner of the picks as well as a loser. Now, to make it fun and to incentivize things, I think we should be able to agree on what the prize for the winner should be, the amount of times, the length of time that we do this competition for, and then what the prize or punishment for the loser is.
I like it. I'm thinking maybe do like quarterly seasons, 3-month seasons. Is that too long?
We can do a 3-month season. We can do a 3-month
It's probably going to
season.
work out between, if we're just doing UFC events, between what, like 8 and 12, depending on the quarter.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. That's a very good point. That works out well. Now, what should the winner get? Considering we don't want to spend money on this. You can tell we haven't discussed this beforehand.
Yeah, no, see, this is what I'm saying. So I think this is something we're all going to have to sleep on. And maybe we figure this out before we do the pick show this week.
Okay. I think it's a good idea. You sleep on it.
Ideas, just to springboard some ideas I have had, just to kind of put things in the ballpark I was thinking. It could be things like, for the entirety of the next season, the winner gets to be referred to by whatever moniker they choose, and then the other people have to call them that moniker anytime they speak to him on the show. Stuff like that.
I don't know. Yeah, so stuff like that. Yeah. That one specifically, I don't know how much I'd enjoy it. It'd be good for like a day, and then it's kind of like, I don't know, too much. We'll figure something out though. All right, so are we going to do just a reward for the winner? Or are we just going to do like punishment for the forfeit for the loser? Bit of both?
I was thinking a bit of both, only on the basis that we're not talking anything ridiculous.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
We're not talking like, serious forfeits. No, I don't know.
It's not Jackass.
It's not Jackass, basically. And that's why I was trying to set the tone with the winner, so that we understand it's not a case of like, way, the winner gets like a shout out or something like that. The loser, has to make all my food for a month.
Oh, we will take suggestions on this. Leave suggestions in the comments.
Ideas in the comments. We will veto the extreme ones though. No nudity, no physical challenges of exertion, nothing involving social media.
My social media is LinkedIn. That would literally ruin my job. No way. Fucking worst.
We send a message to one person in your LinkedIn connects.
Oh no.
No. Do you have any ideas, Sly? You've been quite quiet on this topic.
None. So I'm a bit brain dead. I think they got rid of my hair today, and it's causing me to slow down.
I just assumed you hadn't had your hair done. Sorry.
No.
The headphones make it hard. It covers up all the parts that have just been cut.
Right.
Oh, okay. I see. A lot of length.
Well,
right.
To kick things off on the pick show tally as well, I'm probably not winning this pick show because of some of the choices I made. But let's discuss the rest of the fights, because we also had Khalil Roundtree savagely knock out Carl Roberson. I did not get this one right. Just a little thought. Why don't we see more soccer kicks to the body when people are down?
I'm pretty sure the last time I saw it was either Roundtree or Jones. I can't think of anyone else that does it.
it's really clever and it's a really powerful kick that you're allowed to land. I'm amazed that more people don't do this. Khalil Roundtree's almost becoming the fighter that reminds people of all the other things that you can do to win fights.
Mm.
Yeah, he tried that side kick to the knee again. He doesn't feel too bad about the damage done. Who was it? Modestas Bukauskas.
Modestas Bukauskas.
He's going to be gone for a while because of that. Yeah, no, he's beautiful. He can be uniquely violent when he's on, you know. I didn't see the post-fight speech he made, the press conference thing, but I did see Sean Strickland's reaction to it, which wasn't very supportive. So could someone please update me on what Khalil Roundtree said afterwards?
He basically just said that he doesn't just want to fight for money anymore. He has a story, and his story's tragic, and he's overcome all of these things, and he wants to inspire people, and he wants to be able to show people that you can make it, and even if you're feeling depressed and down, and you hate yourself, and you're overweight, and you have no direction in life, you can do it, because he did it, which is all very inspirational. I feel that Khalil Roundtree has some natural athletic things that have allowed him to be able to turn his life around in the way that he has. But I don't know. I kind of appreciated the sentiment.
I swear he said, no, but I swear he said change his life around because he used to be really fat.
Yeah. I think Khalil's saying like anyone can, you know, change their lifestyle and fix the things they need to fix. I don't think he's necessarily saying anyone can make it into the UFC. But yeah,
no,
like,
I'm teasing.
Yeah,
like, listen, it was very heartfelt. It was kind of, you know, he was tearing up as he was saying it. It was from the heart. And I think with Khalil Roundtree, motivation's always been a big issue for him. He's a very clever guy. You know, he knows he's probably not going to ever reach the status of champion. And this is clearly the way that he's felt that he can motivate himself in his career beyond just obviously his own thing. So I don't knock it. I can understand why somebody like Sean Strickland would take the piss out of that because, you know, it's a lot of people, you know, like to do that kind of stuff. And then there are obviously the Sean Stricklands that are just like, dude, we're here to fight for money. What the fuck are you talking about? But
yeah, or taking a beautiful heartfelt moment like that and just being like, that's fucking gay. Which I'm pretty, I don't know if he said fucking, but that is what he said. Do you also see the video of him blowing up on a Karen? Well, her kind of blowing up on him.
No.
It's like a little road rage incident. And I was like on my phone while I was doing something else. So I had the volume down. But I just saw the graphics or like the text he thrown up on the clip. And it's just like, you know, if she was a dude, I'd drag her out the fucking car and beat her and stuff. Sean Strickland knows where the line is. He just loves to wave at it from a great distance, being on the far side of it. Just, I don't know if it's deranged and scary or just like, you know, beautifully simple and stupid and horrifically offensive. But that's Sean Strickland.
Do you think that because he is becoming more popular and more well known as this kind of wild man, that when you get that kind of credit for that kind of behavior, it will motivate you to be more active with that behavior? Do you see what I mean? So this might always be him.
Like Colby.
No, but it's like once you get any kind of like positive feedback on something, it makes it more likely that one, you're going to do it more, and two, that you're going to do it in more social places.
Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I feel he's pulling the curtain back a little more, but I feel he's literally just pulling a curtain back, and this is him. Like I don't know if he's necessarily playing up to things more. I think he's just censoring himself a little less, perhaps. Well, I haven't explained that well. Sounds like I'm saying the same fucking thing.
It depends on the situation, because did the lady just like get out of her car and start like screaming in his face?
She was in his car. It looked like she was screaming. I didn't have the volume on.
So I don't know. It's
just more Sean Strickland things in the same week. I'm like,
but again, I think sometimes when you look at things, it's like, are you looking at the situation or are you looking at it through the lens? And Karens are fucking annoying, man. Like,
oh no.
We don't have to deal with them in Europe as much.
If it was a guy I would drag him out of the car and fucking beat him. It's like, one, not the correct response in any situation. Two, don't be like, the only thing stopping me from beating you up is that you're a woman, because that in some way implies I have like chivalry or manners or some shit. It's still very fucking chauvinistic, condescending, like it's just about like the shittiest fucking way he could post it online. Does she deserve to have that shit posted on there? Yes. But I'm like, the way he chooses to word these things, you know, the way he wants to position himself in that moment is where I'm like, he knows he's so far over the fucking line. He doesn't care. And I just don't know if that's funny or scary.
But again, have you seen the movie 12 Angry Men?
Gregory Peck.
Yes. No, not with Gregory Peck, with Peter Fonda. Or Henry
What's the
Fonda.
one? I'm not thinking it's Kill a Mockingbird, but I thought Gregory Peck was in 12 Angry Men. It's the one where the one juror standout convinces everyone to go the other way and then changes his mind at the end.
No. He just convinces everybody to go the other way and they say that the guy's innocent. Spoiler alert.
Shit, I have no means because I'm on my fucking phone. I can't check these things.
Great movie. But there's this whole bit in it where one of the enticing bits of evidence against the kid it's a kid who's accused of murdering his own dad. And one of the bits of evidence that is swaying most of the jurors is that the neighbors heard him leaving the house a few hours earlier, screaming at him, "I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you." And they said, well, and one guy ends up saying, well, no one ever says something like that unless they mean to do it. And then a few moments later, they get in an argument, and the juror who's making everybody else hold out pisses off the juror who said, well, no one ever says that unless they mean it. And the guy ends up getting really fucked off and says, "Screw you, man, I'll kill you, I'll fucking kill you." He goes, "You didn't really mean that, did you?" He's like, "Of course I didn't mean that." Oh, shit. So the point is that should he have posted it? No. But saying that you would have done it isn't the same as meaning that you'd actually do it. And there's the context where you could think like, oh, I'm chauvinistic and I'm a dick and I would have beaten you up. Or the other argument you could say, and this is where context comes in, is he thinking to himself, there is no situation where a guy would acceptably be able to get in somebody's face without expecting somebody to respond. And that the point he's making is that she's so out of line that actually she needs to remember, like, the only reason she's even that it's even getting to that point is that I would have defended myself, or I would have like pushed the guy fucking away if it was a bloke. Now,
I see what you're saying, but there's a big difference once you use that kind of language. You can't say it's heat of the moment when you've gone back, trimmed the video down, and put words over the top of it, and then gone to the trouble of uploading it. At that point, I'm like, no, you're making a choice.
I'm not talking about heat of the moment. I'm just talking about he's using very aggressive language, yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he literally means it, and what he means is the way that you've taken it. You know, sometimes I think I'd have to see the situation, man. But what I would say, let me ask you this, okay? If a guy, let's say 6 foot whatever, had a situation when you were driving and got out of his car to your car and got right into your face and started screaming at you, okay? I'm not saying that you'd hit him, but you get to a point where you would say, like, you need to get the fuck out of my face, or I'm going to respond. I'm going to.
First time I got out of my van, and the other time it happened, I didn't get out of my van, but I just picked my Stilsons up, and he fucked off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think either way, the point remains that if your actions would have been different if a woman got out the car and screamed to you in the same way.
Oh, hang on. Despite my reactions, at no point did I use language that was in any way kind of, I didn't fucking say anything either time. I just let I responded. But I didn't go out of my way to make it worse or to paint it in a different light. I didn't try to be like, I'm a big fucking guy. I didn't try to be like, they're a little piece of shit. I didn't try to do any of that. So that's what I'm saying. You upload it online. I'm like, I don't think you should be doing it that way. And I do think, this guy is either just so like dark with his humor and doesn't have any filter and doesn't give a fuck, or it's literally kind of sad and scary because he seems like a fucking mess.
Okay. A lot of people at his gym love him. A lot of people at his gym love him. And I'm not saying that he doesn't speak and that he's not sort of unwittingly filtered, but I think some of it's an exaggeration. I think he's playing up to it more than he probably usually would because it's getting in popularity and notoriety. But here's the thing, man. Like, I remember when he fought Uriah Hall. Okay, and he was saying some weird, crazy shit in the build up to that fight as well. But after they had the weigh-ins, the two of them walked away with literally their arms around each other. When the fight ended, they were hugging it out and they were all respectful. So I think, is he a bit of a wild guy? Yeah, but I think part of it's playing up to it. And what you said about it wasn't in the heat of the moment. Just because you spend 5 minutes and record a video about it, you're still enraged in that point. It's still in your mind, and he might not have picked the right phrases, but he could have made the same intention and picked his words a little bit more intelligently, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I don't know.
He could do it in a way I'd be celebrating him and saying what a great fucking thing to do. He chooses to do it differently. Anyone could be a nice guy and a piece of shit. In fact, just about all of us are a combination. But like, it's for me, I'm like, he says too many things that are a bit unhinged. Just like, if that's the way he is and he's just got a dark sense of humor, fair enough. I still don't like it being out in a public forum. That's just my opinion. It's not worth anything. But I do genuinely think sometimes like this guy is just a little too fucked up. You know,
Well,
like a John Jones, like a War Machine, like a fucking Greg Hardy. Who knows?
I disagree to an extent, but what I will say is that I don't think history is particularly positive for people that become famous for being outrageous in any facet. I don't think it helped Conor McGregor. It's not helping Colby. And not just in sport, but people have a tendency to live up to their reputations, particularly if they make them famous. So it exacerbates the problem. You know, people that are musicians that are famous for being fucked up become more fucked up because it becomes their identity. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I just don't want to. I'm not a fan of hearing somebody say one thing and holding them as that as their account of their personality, I suppose.
Oh no, but these things are adding up for me. Like, for sure.
Some of what he says is funny.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Final note on Carl Roberson. I don't think light heavyweight looks like it works for him very well, but Khalil Roundtree hits pretty fucking hard. Let's talk about Drew Dober. The man who has never been knocked down got knocked down, but he did not get knocked out. Somehow he survived. Somehow. And I'll say fair play to the ref, because I thought he was going to stop it at a couple of points. But at no point was Drew Dober not trying to regain his balance and get back on his feet.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a difference between when T-Rex had him in that position. You know, he wasn't shelled up in the same way. He was blocking shots and constantly trying to get back to his feet. You know, he wasn't surviving. He was progressing. As soon as, like, you know, it's flipped the other way around, a cynic might be like, well, it's a different fucking ref in this moment, isn't it? What I saw was T-Rex fucking surviving and a good finish. You know, I cannot believe Drew Dober did not get finished, but not because of the referee. Like, just Jesus fucking Christ, what a chin! That chin's not worth the same. It's not the same chin now. It's definitely not the same chin now. But how many strikes did he landslide?
So,
What was this one? Terrence McKinney must have like landed something like 50 strikes in that first 2 minutes.
No, it wasn't actually that. Well, I need to look at the detailed stats. Maybe that will give me more sense. It's actually not even that much difference. It's he landed 43, and Drew Dober landed 31. Obviously, they're not the same kind of strikes.
Well, no, I can imagine that, because it was McKinney dominated, was all over him until he wasn't, and then the fight completely swung in the other direction. And I think McKinney, he fought like a young fighter. He fought like a guy that was just excited. He's finishing all these fights in the first couple of minutes. He's just going to bum rush the guy. It's
Mm.
working out brilliantly. And you lose your composure and your understanding of how to read the situation. And
Would you
fair
guys
play
have
to-
done it differently
what?
in his shoes?
It's hard to say. I don't know. I think when you see that you've won the fight almost, you try and finish it. Don't you? It makes sense. I see
2
so many
weight cuts in a
fights.
fortnight.
Oh, is that what you mean? So I thought you meant.
Oh
in
no,
the,
no, yeah,
actual-
definitely. Like
Yeah.
even if I hadn't had like the second weight cut in a fortnight, like take that out, I guess. But like, yeah, shit. Like as I'm watching it, I'm like, I feel like he's doing the right things here. You got to go for the finish.
Oh, you got to
I
look
feel-
at Masvidal. Look at Nate Diaz. Look at all these people that don't go for the finish when the finish is there, and you just go. After the fight, you're like, oh, why didn't he go for it? He has to. It's a fight. You see the finish, you have to go. You see the 50K bonus or 75. I don't know how much the bonus is now. You see that you're about to, finish Drew Dober in such a quick fashion. You have to for your career. You have to go for that finish. He just got unlucky not to finish him. Or Drew Dober did well to survive, but you have to. I think. I mean, I don't fight, so I don't know.
There's a difference between being clinical and being aggressive and wasteful. And I think everything he did to knock Drew Dober down, I agree with. But it's these little moments of pause and establishing position and just regaining yourself. I don't think he used up all of his energy. It's just that he sprinted the first 3 minutes basically, and eventually it's going to wear you out. And if things do switch, you're just not going to feel like you've got a chance to regain that. And if you look at Drew Dober, when he knocked him down, he was still very aggressive and clinical, but it was just a couple of seconds of pause. Just, okay, I'm going to establish this position. Good. Now I'm going to hit him. Okay, I can get a better position. Here we go. Even when with the finishing strikes, it wasn't just wild. It was, he knew what he was doing. He was measuring his shots. And what it meant is even if he didn't finish McKinney in that situation and it got back to the feet, Drew Dober wasn't going to be overly exerted. So I think it's that understanding. It's being aggressive, but not being wild, I think is the way I should have said that.
Okay.
I know it. Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I totally agree with the principle. As I'm watching this, I haven't had a chance to watch it back. As I'm watching something, and this is the right kind of pace. I didn't sense that he was rushing too much until it's like now force the ref to make a decision. And unfortunately, all the ref could see was Drew fighting to get back to his feet. I
think,
honestly,
though,
I wouldn't have done it
know your
differently in his
opponent?
shoes. Yeah, but once you got him down, if you're the first guy to knock him down, and you knock him down, shit, you got to think you really caught him. I think in that
That's a good
situation, if
point.
anything, the homework might even work against you because, look, Drew Dober got knocked down once, but he got rocked a couple of times. It was twice with that knee, and then there was another one with the right hand. And I honestly thought, this is fucking it. He is getting knocked out today. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. He is so fucking tough.
Oh, he did well. He did well. And listen, that's a big result for him because that would have been, I think, 3 on the bounce he would have lost. Brad Riddell, and I think he lost to Makhachev before that.
Yeah, Makhachev immediately before that, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Drew Dober, he wanted to remind people who he is, and that's exactly what he did.
Who was he supposed to fight? Who dropped out at this point?
I have no idea. I was trying to work this out on the pick show, but I didn't look it up.
No.
Let's talk about the rest of the fights. Alex Pereira got past Bruno Silva, but it was certainly not comfortable. I think he looked pretty human after the first round, to be honest. And the guy's clearly got power. He can hurt you. He can wobble you. But just the threat of the takedown changes his striking completely. And I think we are seeing an elite kickboxer who's not an elite MMA striker yet.
Yeah, it was a weird game plan, keep jabbing the body, occasional cross to the body, draw the hands down, throw something high, back jab the body. Everything in kind of 1 and 2 shot combos. Just didn't look like a guy that wanted to win that much.
I don't think he's got a chance against Hidji, is he? I think it's
not with that skill set, not in MMA.
No.
the other problem I think he's 34. I don't know if he beats the people that he'd need to beat to get to Izzy while Izzy's champ.
Right.
I think that's the issue. He might have a better chance against Izzy because, if let's be honest, it would be a kickboxing match. He's not going to have to worry about the takedown. He'd probably approach it like a kickboxing striking match. But is he going to beat Vittori? I think Vittori just takes him down. Is he going to beat Rob? I think Rob could take it down. Is he going to beat Kelvin Gastelum? Gastelum, basically anybody with decent wrestling, I think is a real problem for this guy.
Do you think he has to fight any of them to get to Izzy though? I think all he has to really do is win a couple more fights and then beat one guy with a number by his name, even if it literally is 15. And as long as Adesanya is still champ and everyone else is looking at trying to get that trilogy fight just so they can lose to him one more time, maybe it could be like Hendo against Bisping, where they're like, yeah, fuck it, we'll reach all the way down the bottom of the rankings and pull someone up just because there's a bit of a backstory.
Maybe. But this is tough for Pereira. 34, moving from kickboxing to MMA. He's got to make a huge. He's got to learn a lot in a very short amount of time. At the same point that his skills and his speed are on the decline. So, I think this would have been really exciting if he came into the UFC. If he was a couple of years further ahead. But after that, and listen, everybody has a bad night. Izzy had some, not amazing wins when he first got into the UFC against, lower level opponents. But I'm not blown away. I'd say that. And even in his first fight in the UFC, he flying knee, fucking brutal, landed it perfectly. Lost the first round pretty comfortably.
Well, he looked a lot more settled in the second round of this fight too. But to an extent, I think Bruno Silva kind of made it easy for him by just kind of keeping it on the feet and just, like you say, like he wasn't streets ahead. He was just kind of edging it. To be honest, it was stupid because you didn't know which way the judges were going to go. And ultimately, Bruno Silva could have made that a much, much more challenging fight for him by just, really finding a way to get him down, keep him down.
Yeah. But he marches on. That Izzy fight is potentially in sight, at least for the marketing purposes. And Bruno Silva, listen, didn't get the win. Not much more to say there. Let's run through these prelims a bit more quickly. Semmelsberger gets the nod over AJ Fletcher. Very tough fight, very close fight. Really just was able to outwill him in that third round. Quick thoughts on this one, guys?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the prelim. Sorry, guys.
I'm really sorry, I didn't see it either. Although I was looking at the stats. We're talking about the Semmelsberger against Fletcher. And on the stats, so I've got no idea round for round, blah, 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 but Fletcher's got more significant strikes. He's got more strikes. He's got more takedowns, like 4 takedowns to 1. He attempted 2 subs. He reversed Semmelsberger twice. That's what I've seen from here. And apparently Semmelsberger won this fight, and I'm just trying to defend my pick, because I did pick. I can't remember who I picked. Fletcher, yeah. And
he dominated the first round. That's the difference. So
okay,
the takedowns were in the first round. And what happened in the second round is about 2 minutes in, Semmelsberger was able to get on top. And it became obvious that whichever guy was on top, the other guy wasn't able to get out from the bottom. So Semmelsberger narrowly wins the second round. And then he's able to get takedowns and land strikes and do damage and just kind of outdo him in the third round. It was very close. It was very close. But I mean, Fletcher looked really good. Really promising guy. You can see where the talent is. I'd say maybe a little
first loss, right?
First loss. It's debut as well. It can be a little unnerving sometimes, first UFC fight.
Sushi jitters.
But and Semmelsberger's a really dangerous guy. So I think definitely watch out for AJ Fletcher. And, Semi the Jedi moves on. May the Force be with him. Running down the rest of the card, Gillian Robertson, fan favorite of the show, did not get it done against Aldridge. She had one of her flat nights, which unfortunately does happen every now and again and is happening a little more often than it should. If she can't get the takedown, it's just, she is she is unable to win fights in any capacity with her striking, and that's a really, really big problem. And she's more of a grappler than a wrestler, so she can take people down, but she's not just, high level wrestler. She can't take everybody down. And if somebody else has got wrestling, she just gets out muscled. And she's 10-7 now, and I think she needs to go away for like a year and just work on skills, work on just wrestling, just striking. You've got the jiu-jitsu in your bag, but otherwise it's going to be win one, lose two, win one, lose two, win one, lose one.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Aldridge, solid performance. Well done to her. Javid Basharat, repping Afghanistan, although was not allowed to fly the flag, stays undefeated, beating 5-star Jones. Damon Jackson got an impressive submission against Cam Weller-Kirk. Really looked good in this fight, Damon Jackson. Very impressive.
Actually, I did see a little bit of this one. Yeah.
He's good, Damon Jackson. He's really good. Miranda Maverick, statement win against Sabina Mazo, submits her in round 2. Miranda Maverick nailed this one. You could tell she was going to win. Walking out to the theme tune from Top Gun, wherein Top Gun aviators, rocking that whole kind of look. She had a vibe of, I'm the boss and I'm going to win and I'm going to put this losing streak to bed.
Well, so, Mazo, unfortunately, these days does kind of mean like a bit of a soft outing. So she's probably feeling that way the second she saw the name on the contract.
She needs to wear sunglasses to all of her walkouts now, though. She looked cool as fuck. She had that kind of, I got this vibe. Cody Brundage, this was the comeback of the night for me. Doucha Lungiambula is destroying Brundage. Hurting him with everything that's thrown, rocking him, beating him up. The ref is stopping in to stop it at numerous different points. And then literally Lungiambula just gets a bit tired of punching him, so thinks, well, I'm just going to take him down so that I can get him on the ground and finish this with ground and pound. And in that moment, Brundage locks in a guillotine as he's going in for the double leg and taps him out. Great win. Great win. Biggest comeback of the night. Shame for Doucha because he was looking really impressive, but Cody Brundage sensed his moment, man. He got it done.
Did anyone pick Brundage?
No. And our boy Chris Moutinho, unfortunately, it's looking like that valiant performance against O'Malley was very much his great moment tonight, because he looked pretty average against Gannett and got finished on the fit, standing up on his feet, but was badly rocked, eyes all over the place. And yeah, just didn't look UFC level, if I'm honest.
We did have some concerns. And Gannett's no bum. He's a good fighter.
No. It was, I'll tell you what, Coutinho was doing okay, but you could just tell he was hittable. And it was one left hand that just changed the course of the fight, rocked him, and from there was no coming back. And Azamat Mirzakhanov got a surprising knee finish, flying knee knockout against Tafon Nchukwi, because Tafon looked like he had this in the bag. Mirzakhanov was exhausted, looked like he didn't have much left, and then just times this knee perfectly as he's going for the takedown.
Yeah, the knee I saw. Is it technically a flying knee? I don't know if he left the ground. It was a nice knee.
It's a high knee. It's a high knee.
Yeah.
It's a high knee. But yeah, some good fights on the card, some good performances, even though the main event was a bit lackluster. Let's get to the picks. So you think you've gone 9-4, Josh?
9-5 is 14 fights, right?
Oh, 9-5. So I got 1, 2.
I need to check.
3. That's not a good start already. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8.
It might be enough. I need to double check mine, but I'm pretty sure it's 9. What did you do, Sly?
I'm trying to check it.
I'm trying to remember. Did you go Gannett? I think there's a few that I got wrong that I think
I went Gannett. I went Gannett for sure.
Yeah. First week. Is this the first week back and he does it?
Did Azamat win?
Yes.
Yeah. So Azamat, Canetti.
Tense.
I can't remember everyone. I think I picked Maverick, but I think we all picked Maverick.
I think we all picked Maverick.
I'll
I
tell
think
you,
I-
it's like you got 1, 2.
Mm, I believe I picked. I don't know. I was gonna say Kirk, but I can't remember this one. I really cannot remember.
Josh,
really,
for the fact that you
But-
remembered what your picks are, you
Yeah.
have won the first
No,
counted in the
yeah.
tally. You
Yeah,
are 1-0
yeah.
Well-
up. You have won the picks. Well done.
We got double checked it. I'm also going to go back and find out what's lie as well. So I suppose we have to decide on this. But do you want to do like basically you get a maximum 1 point a week, or do you want to do the running totals? So, for example, someone might never actually might not win the most weeks,
Oh
but
no, no, I
might
think
always
do it
be
by
one
events.
fight behind.
Do
and
it
have the
by
totals.
events.
Let's do it by
No,
events.
because I will
Okay.
forget things otherwise. So
No, because we've got to write it down.
We're going to write it down.
Just write it down. I know.
It's a-
We'll set up a separate WhatsApp group just for the picks, and that way we can have all the picks in there as well. But we can just do the running total, nice and
And
easy.
then we can all write our picks in there as well so that we'd know exactly what everybody's
Yeah.
got and there's no confusion.
It doesn't matter if someone's charger dies. And oh my god, I love that MacBook. And now this.
How much is a new charger?
Not a lot. But unfortunately, we're still having to struggle to get money in and just stay on top of the bills and everything. So I have theoretically enough money, but that means going about a week without smoking weed. So I'm like, well, the way I'm going to do it is if Kate is able to pay me back a little bit of money through the month, at some point, I'm getting it. It's the only other thing I'm buying this month. Otherwise, I just gotta use my fucking phone to podcast until till payday, which is what 2 weeks. It's a long
You can
time.
hold out. You've got this.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Charges.
Well, Josh, we're going to call you the winner of the picks for the moment. Before we leave, though, there is one bit of news I want to talk about. Has anybody been seeing the fact that Kamzat and Darren Till have now become best friends?
Yeah.
what? Why?
Yeah, the weirdest odd couple friendship. But the two of them, Darren Till's been training in Sweden. They then both came over to the States because Kamzat's got a fight coming up. And the stories that are coming out about these two. Yeah, they took Bisping out for a lovely dinner. The problem is they also agreed to drive him back. And Hamzat was apparently driving this car. And the way Bisping describes the story says that Hamzat was driving what can only be described as an absolute fucking lunatic. Because they are going 90 miles an hour down the wrong lane. Literally dodging cars in traffic as they're coming towards them and stuff like that. With Darren Till just laughing his head off, thinking it's fucking hilarious. Bisping freaking the fuck out, going, "Stop the fucking car! Stop the fucking car!" And Hamza just been like, "Easy, brother. It's all right, brother. It's all right."
It's not. He's wrecked cars before. I saw the one he got gifted by that Chechen dictator twat. Fucking upside down in a ditch next to the road. I'm still alive. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that guy is going to get himself killed. And I've got a feeling that Darren Till and Hamzat will get each other in very different types of trouble, none of which are good.
I like it. I remember when he was almost best friends with Mike Perry, but it just never quite clicked.
I think Mike Perry's a little too unstable to appreciate Darren Till's sense of humor.
He should have let Till corner him.
I know he might still be in the UFC if he did that. Probably not.
Very long day.
Well, what we'll say is, since there's no more news to cover, we'll bid you adieu for now. Oh, wait, very quickly, I'm going to see, because I didn't check the comments, if anybody left their own picks in, and we can see if they did better than us. I should have checked that beforehand. As the tension builds in silence.
Well, to get that going, we should push Laurie and Dave to submit some picks this week.
No picks submitted, but Tom said yes, boys. So
Very
agrees.
agreeable.
thank you, Tom. On that note, guys, we will bid you adieu. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. As always, please do. Leave comments as well. They all help the video get seen by more people, which we desperately need. And till next time, bye Dave, bye Laurie, bye Trifo.
Bye, Laurie.
Bye.
Bye, Dave.